and evangelists, and thank God for all of them. We never have had many prophets, and there is no prophet at present discernible on the horizon. And I'm not talking about foretellers, but forthtellers, men who speak for God to the nation and the church. When I stand before a group like this, particularly where there are many students, I always breathe a prayer that somewhere in the crowd there might be some lad who will take up the challenge and dare to speak for God in the prophetic function today, in the best sense, the New Testament sense of the word. The prophet tops the list of Satan's most hated men, and every demon offers a prize to destroy him. He's a disturber of the peace. He's a Daniel who keeps Darius awake all night. He's a John the Baptist who spoils for Herod the pleasures of a king's palace. And he's without honor in his own country, scorned by the scribes, and the object of the hatred of all Jezebels. Little religious clerks complain because they can't control him. His contemporaries stone him, and the next generation builds a monument in his honor. He's acceptable to no board, no committee. He thinks out his strategy far from the petty bickerings of ecclesiastical politics. His policy is not determined by swivel chair experts. He's accused of living in an ivory tower, but the trouble with most of us is we're out too close to see the whole field. We can't see the forest for the trees. The prophet's a man apart who sees the whole panorama, and we're short on prophets today. Barclay says the Settle ministry began to resent the intrusion of these wandering prophets who often disturb their congregations. The Settle ministry always tends to resent the itinerant evangelist. Prophets are not popular. Where is public appreciation the test of any preacher? Whether they hear or whether they forbear, they shall know that a prophet hath been among them. Certainly we're living in a day that cannot endure sound doctrine because we've come all the way from heartburn to ear itch. And in a time like that, people are not ready to receive the truth. The prophet won't draw a crowd either. It's not the business of the preacher to fill the church. The business of the preacher to fill the pulpit. It's the business of the church members to fill the church. My Lord preached his crowd away in the 6th chapter of John. It's not our business to make the message acceptable. It's our business to make it available. It's not our business to see that they like it. It's our business to see that they get it. The prophet is a square, and he's an odd number in a standardized, collectivized, regimented society. He walks alone. He's a poor mixer. He's not popular at clubs and luncheons. Amos was not chummy with Jeroboam II. Amaziah didn't have much use for Amos at Bethel. Organized institutional religion and the voice of dissent, you have it all the way through the Bible. Elijah on Carmel, old Micaiah, our Lord and the Pharisees. They're not popular in king's palaces. They're not wined and dined by Ahabs and Herods. You remember that Elijah faced Ahab, and Ahab said, "Art thou he that troublest Israel?" And Elijah said, "You got the shoe on the wrong foot. You're the one that's troubling Israel." Ahab was the troublemaker. Elijah was the troubleshooter. We need troubleshooters today. Businessmen, business firms employ such men to look for bugs in the machinery and prevent breakdowns. God needs such men in the church, New Testament prophets, divinely equipped for the job. They have an instinct for locating trouble and a genius for exposing it. And naturally, they're not popular. It's much more pleasant to be a Gamaliel, keeping everything quiet in Jerusalem, than a Paul exceedingly troubling Philippi. Such men are called troublemakers, but they don't create the situation. They only reveal it. If you call attention to the bushels and the beds that smother our Christian testimony, you shouldn't be accused of making the bushels and setting up the beds. They do not put delinquent Christians on the spot. Such Christians are already on the spot. We need some sanctified troubleshooters today. There's trouble aplenty, not much demand. Prophets are too disturbing. They're a contradiction to their generation. They cause general uneasiness. They play havoc with the serenity school, and they irritate the tranquilizers. And just when the false prophets of the peaceful coexistence school have lulled everybody to rest at ease in Zion, here comes a prophet to blast the neighborhood with a siren that cries aloud and spares not. And while the scholars are writing wordy volumes that nobody reads anyhow. The prophet says it in a colorful paragraph. Oh, you say, but doesn't the Bible say, blessed are the peacemakers? Yes. But the surest way to have peace is to deal with the troubles that prevent it. A sick man doesn't have any peace because he has trouble, and the doctor has to be a troubleshooter before he's a peacemaker. May there be somewhere, even now in America, in the backwoods, maybe, a solitary lad who will walk in the prophetic succession and be a troubleshooter from Tekoa like old Amos was long ago. And is it too much to hope that there may yet arise in the sunset of this age a prophet of the Lord besides, such as Jehoshaphat had in mind? Are we too far gone to pray that however unthinkable such a calling may seem to the average seminarian, some hardy soul will see to it that the prophet shall not perish from the earth?